What is the worst Apple product you've ever owned? The Lightning to 3.5 dongles fail at an alarming rate. iTunes. The only Apple product I ever owned was an iPod. Absolutely amazing hardware, but iTunes is the absolute worst software ever. That round mouse. Worst ergonomic design ever. Magic Mouse. Red Delicious. They are just mealy, tasteless, terrible apples. iPod socks. Nobody has feet that small. Truth. I bought a pack of 5 iPod socks and they've lasted longer than every iPod I've ever owned. Red Delicious. Worst Apple ever. Basically every iPod in the early 2000s when you had a Windows PC, the iPods themselves were fine, but iTunes was just always this frustrating pain to use on Windows. Looking at how Apple can be now with cross-platform stuff, I definitely wonder if it was intentionally so bad on Windows. Had the opposite of the desired effect on me if that was the case though, just turned me into a bit of an Apple hater even if that's not really fair. Any cable that moves. Headphones, chargers, USB cables, they all fray and break. I don't like the AirPods. They fall out of my ears for any slight movement. My name tag holder. Used to work at one of their retail stores and the plastic frame would break all the time. Absolute trash. Performa 5.2 https://lowendmac.com 9095 Performa 5.200. Absolute garbage. They crippled it in all kinds of ridiculous ways, from not enough RAM to 32-bit bus for a 64-bit processor to no hardware handshake on the serial port. To make the networking stable you had to add an empty SCSI card. And to top it off they shipped it with a faulty monitor wire, and refused to acknowledge it until they issued a recall. AirPods Pro 2. Some firmware update ruined ANC. If I have my AC on my left side, the left pod ANC starts to dysfunction lightly, as if it lightly increased a level of transparency mode. If it's on my right side, it will happen with the right pod. The same for any fans and sources of constant humming noises. If I change between modes or take the pod out and put it in my ear again, it starts working again until some minutes later the same happens. It's annoying as hell. 2 friends of mine who have the same version of AirPods report exactly the same thing. This didn't happen in the past. It gives me the impression that those infamous firmware updates which allegedly reduced ANC effectiveness actually were the starting point of this problem. An Intel Touch Bar Mac. It was a work machine. I upgraded from a MacBook Air and though going from a non-Retina to a Retina screen was nice, the rest of the machine was garbage. It was slower, the battery life was embarrassingly bad, tons of RAM, but would bog down super easily, noisy, and that butterfly keyboard should have never gotten past QA. Newton. It's probably still in a drawer somewhere. HomePod Mini. First Gen AirPods. Apple Music is a joke compared to the simplicity of iTunes. Having to sync libraries to access certain streaming functions is nonsense, and completely disregards that significant parts of my music library are my own music and sound projects. I have a lot of rare music that no streaming service will carry, and I don't need everything in AAC. Want show me my iPhone because it's open in another window? Then take me there. To search windows? And why are playlists suddenly this useless new layout? Even the name music is a headache. Where are my music files now kept? Inside a folder called Music, inside a folder called Media, inside another folder called Music, inside another folder called Music. The wired earphones. Every time I would buy a product, the same shitty earphones that sound crap and fall out every 5 seconds. Waste of metal and plastic.